on a guy, and a movie. Me and Janet went back to 1998, one of probably my favorite years in general. And we watched a film by the name of Meet Joe Black. And that movie has Anthony Hopkins, Brad Pitt, Claire Forlani, and Jake Weber round out the cast. It's directed by Martin Brest, written by Ron Osborne, Jeff Reno, and Kevin Wade. And the original theatrical cut is an astounding 180 minutes long. Janet, have you ever seen this movie before?
No, I'd never seen it till today. Today was my first time.
Okay.
And I didn't even realize how long it was until I looked at the thing and saw, wow, it's over 2 hours already. So
It's
I
not.
thought it was very entertaining. I didn't even realize how much time had went by.
I have a different opinion than you, but let's discover this. Um,
Well, that's all I'm
first
doing
part of
is
the
giving you
movie.
my opinion.
The first part of the movie, got Claire Forlani talking to her daddy. Uh, I think Drew had just left the room. Drew's the guy that she's supposed to meet, marry, make babies with.
That was her boyfriend. They weren't engaged.
Oh, they weren't engaged. Okay, I thought that was a fiance.
No, they
The way,
were boyfriend and
I infer that because how the dad's talking, not by anything anyone else says.
Well, she's he's on the board, okay, and she's dating him.
I mean, of
And
course,
they've
she
been
was.
dating for a while, it seems like, but that
Yeah,
doesn't mean that. But I could see when the first scene where he gets off the helicopter and he walks towards her to see the father and the sisters out setting up the stuff for the party that following weekend.
and she's the sister's actually played by Mrs. Carmody, the lady that Marcia Gay Harden, but she's best known for her role in the movie The Mist, which is an amazing film.
But what I was going to say was when the younger sister sees her boyfriend walking toward her, and he's all acting excited and stuff, and she's smiling really big and excited, and he comes in, and he gives her a peck on the cheek, and then he walks right past her. So she's already got a sample of what she's going to have after they say I do. I
Yeah,
mean, there's no spark. There's
all
no. He wasn't excited to see her. He was
all
excited
the
to see her dad.
all the tired sex he could possibly missionary to. Yum.
That's what she basically just didn't seem uh, happy with him. She seemed like she wants to be with him. She wants to love him, but there was no spark. That he
You,
didn't act jovial and excited to spend time with her. Like that's one thing I loved about the other couple, the husband and wife that were married, the older sister and her husband. Now they didn't act like they had kids because you never saw the children come to the house or anything like that when they had dinner and stuff. So I don't think they had children yet. But he was always telling her what a great job she did on things and how proud he was of her and giving her a hug or holding her hand and kissing her all the time. So even though they weren't, like he wasn't a hot, stud muffin or anything, he loved her and she loved him. And you could tell by the way they interacted with each other. So when they were having the dinner later on, and the father was acting like, he wasn't looking forward to the party because he knew he wasn't going to live after the party, right? And she was going on about the cake and all the work that she put into it. And she felt like that she had to explain everything she was doing so that people would understand all the work she's putting into it, because she felt like she didn't get uh, the she wasn't getting the enthusiasm that she was hoping. So her husband was constantly trying to give her praise for what she was doing above and beyond, uh, you know, to make it the best party ever because her dad was turning 65, and she was happy about it. And we don't know how the wife died or their mother had died or anything, but the two daughters loved their dad, and they were trying to do the best they could to make him happy, and to show their appreciation to him and how much they loved him. And the dad did a pretty good job. He was very stern, kind of distant, like a dad would be, that's head in, deep in all this working and wanting to make money, that type of thing, focused on that. So I thought the relationship of the sister and her husband, they did a really good job at showing you that they were in love, and the little tidbits that you hear about their relationship and stuff when they're talking, having conversation with Joe Black and everything, you get to hear a little bit about it. But the affection they showed each other, I thought was very believable for their two characters to interact with each other. And the fact that he really loved his father-in-law, he really liked him. He liked doing a good job for him and trying to make him proud of him, by his decision making and things like that. It wasn't that he was just living off of him because he's married to his daughter, that type of thing. Like the other guy definitely came across like that to me. That was planning on, he just assumed that he would be married to the daughter. He just treated her like, she comes along with the job type of thing. And I didn't like him right off the bat. So I didn't like it because of that, because she deserves to be treated like she's a different individual. You know what I mean? She's someone.
I mean, I can kind of understand that. Kind of. I don't find her to be that engaging of a character. She's not a wallflower, but she's not exactly a ball busting go getter. She just the older sister, completely ball buster, go getter. But the younger sister, Allison, nah, not feeling it.
Like what the older sister said when she was talking to her father about how she knew that when her sister walked in the room, that her dad would light up, and I feel the same way, because with my younger sister, because the youngest is the baby, and they're always going to get a totally different greeting than the other children are. Okay, you can ask any siblings, especially a family like mine that had 5 kids, and you could see for as soon as my youngest sister would come in, that she was treated like the baby, the golden child. She was never wrong. She always got away with everything. I don't know why that happens that way, but that's just the way it is. But she didn't seem like a spoiled, rotten brat. The character didn't. No. She seemed like a reasonable woman who went to college. She's now a doctor, and she works at the hospital, and she liked her job.
I really I can empathize with that, but whenever it comes to anything around her dad, no matter what, she could have gone to college. She could have got a fucking bar with a 10-year legal degree, or she could have fucking sat in a trailer park with Joe Dirt and pumped out 10 kids.
Yeah, she could have, because her dad was rich.
Daddy would have never given a fuck. He dotes on her no matter what. And no offense to her, but her character's boring. I mean, I hate to say that. She's not interesting to me. I kind of wish this movie had focused more on Marcia, because Marcia. She just was the more interesting of the two sisters. And the younger sister, yeah, she did go to school. She did become a nurse, or she became a doctor, whatever. But she just doesn't, even in the hospital scenes when she's talking with Joe Black, and yet we have the 72-year-old Creole lady who is, just having a good old time talking to death. And then, all of a sudden the doctor takes a back seat. What the fuck is going on here? What the fuck is even going on here? And that was what I was thinking whenever she was on scene. She
I didn't feel that way at all.
She doesn't exist in this movie for me, except it's a narrative drive for Death to experience what sex is like. And I don't agree with this version of Death. Death has been around for longer than we've had humanity. Death has been the constant factor in everything. So don't try to convince me that Death, who is all be all, know all, the force of the cessation in the world and the universe and everything, don't try to tell me he's never had peanut butter. Don't try to tell me he's never had sex with a nubile middle
Never
20.
had it as a human being. That's what you got to realize. He is
This
deaf.
is the
Okay, he
first
can
time he's
come
ever
and
done
go
this.
wherever he wants. He
I'm
can eat
having a
whatever
problem
he
with
wants, but
this.
not as a human.
I'm
He's a
having a real
God.
problem with this. Out of all the millennia, it's only now that you decide, now that Tyson chicken has been proven to cause increased breast and thigh size in women because of the increased breast and thigh size of chickens, now you decide you're going to come out of the woodwork. The fucking pointy tits of the 1950s didn't make you want to take human form and fuck Mae West or fucking Marilyn Monroe? Are you fucking serious? This movie was so bullshit.
That's not why he did it.
This is such a garbage fucking script that it's so bloated, but yet whenever I need the
Well, why did we watch this movie?
it's so
Didn't you pick
sticky.
it? Didn't you pick this movie?
No, I didn't. You've said this movie before.
Was it me?
You like
I've
Brad
never
Pitt.
seen it.
You said you wanted to see it because you hadn't seen it before.
No, somebody else requested it. It wasn't me. I said I didn't really care that much about Brad Pitt.
I
He's not
thought
my favorite
I
actor.
thought this was something that we discussed after we watched Emma or Thelma and Louise,
Yeah.
which is another
Well,
garbage
someone
film.
else brought it up.
And
Someone else brought
good
up
God,
this
like
movie, but it wasn't me.
like
I'd never
if you
seen
hate
it.
Brad Pitt, if you hate Brad Pitt, this is a fun movie because the first act, like you could just rewind the scene with the traffic and just enjoy that. Just like I watch, just like I completely enjoy watching Day of the Jackal because fucking Jack Black holds a Marlboro package out there and his arm gets blown off and then he bleeds to death. And so I watch it again and again and again because I can't stand Joe Black. I fucking think he's a wasted fucking talent, which actually there is no talent there. He should have been a fucking forklift driver for fucking Sears and J.C. Penney's. God damn, the less I watch of him, the happier I am. Anyway, so she's boring as shit to me. And whenever she's like not enjoying herself, she turns her face into W.C. Fields. Okay, out of all the women in humanity, like we've got Angelina Jolie and we've got Sarah Jessica Parker who scissor and make Claire Forlani or whatever her name is. And that's who she reminds me of. She's like an amalgamation of like these two women that in their own ways look much prettier, but she's kind of like a nice little go-between if you want a woman who's mousy and
Well, can you show some, go to like IMDb or whatever and show some of the pictures from the movie?
Yeah. Let me show you guys what 3 hours looks like. We're just gonna stop on one fucking photo for 7 minutes because that's what this film reminds me of. Because
well, I'm glad I didn't see it your way at all. I mean, I'd never seen it, and I don't really care that much about Brad Pitt. But at the very beginning, when you see Sir Anthony Hopkins, speaking to himself in his head, he's got a voice talking to him, and that's death.
That would have been cool.
And the reason he was talking to him is because the conversation he'd had with his daughter about real love and that he just wants his daughter. And okay, you got to remember, Death knows when people are going to die because that's his job, right? So he travels everywhere and he takes them to where they got to go to the other side and drops them off and then comes back to get the next person or whatever, or group of people. So he knows it. He has a sense. So he's already keeping his eye on him because he knows he's about to die of a heart attack. But instead of letting him die, he gets intrigued about his sense of love for his daughter and the way he talks about his wife and the young girl or the young woman's mother, his feelings about all that. So he decides, well, I'm gonna find out as much as I can about this man because he's very interesting and he's led a wonderful life to have so much love, be surrounded by love and everything. So when he he sees the young man die in the street, right? He takes his body so that he has a nice body to go and hang out, like take a temporary vacation Anthony. What's his name again?
Anthony Hopkins.
Yeah, but his name in the movie.
Bill Parrish, William
Yeah,
Parrish.
Bill Parrish. So he goes to William's house. He just shows up at the door. All this because he doesn't know that his body has already met the daughter at the diner. See, he doesn't know anything about it until after they start talking about it. And she's like, "What are you doing here?" When she sees him sitting at the table after he got run over by two vehicles and died. So I thought the whole concept of the way they unfolded the story was really really good because he wasn't Joe Black didn't show up to just fuck his daughter. That hasn't that just happened because of the course of him being in a human body. He was there to interact with William because William was about to die and he thought this was a good chance for me to find out how people fall in love and learn something from it. So as soon as he's in this guy's body, he starts having sensations that he didn't realize because he's a human now. He has feelings. He realizes he's hungry. He realizes that he's tired. He has to sleep. What it feels like, to get a hug or get a kiss, get an embrace from someone. All these human qualities that he's never had before. All he's ever done is walk up to somebody and take their life. That's all he's ever done. He's never seen humans as a human, basically. They're just a job. Okay. So to see it unfold the way that it did in this movie, I thought it was really good. I thought it was very interesting. Just like I said, I didn't even realize it had been 2 hours until I looked at the screen. And the reason I did is because they had that little pause thing on the front. So once I noticed that, I started looking at it, and that's when I realized that it had already been 2 hours. So I was like, wow, I was shocked it had been that long because it didn't seem that long to me. I loved how they unfolded each of the characters to let you know who they were and that he was a hardworking guy. At first, when the daughter was doing this stuff, just like you said, that was hard for me because I didn't know it was a daughter. I thought it was his wife. Like when she kissed the younger sister and they did the side peck, on the side of their face, and
Mm-hmm.
I leaned in like rich people do with their best friend or whatever, that type of thing, or aunts and uncles. That's why I thought it was the stepmom or something. See, I didn't know. But the thing is, as that all came out, that's when I started paying a little more attention to why Joe Black was wanting to be there. What besides finding out what he could, because he was obnoxious and narcissistic the way he spoke to everyone, like especially the guys, all the men, like he was looking at them like he just interrupted. He just did whatever he wanted because he was used to being able to do that, and it was different, and everybody just looked at him like, if he'd been in the street, let's say he just took over somebody's body and was just walking down the ghetto and stuff, he would have had the shit beat out of him and stuff because the way he talked to people was very rude and obnoxious. So as he went through that experience with people that were classier, basically, people with knowledge about not being rude and trying to be, just turn around and leave or whatever if he didn't like what the situation was. He was lucky to have that. But the reason I think was the feelings that he had when he could feel the feelings and feel his thoughts and read his mind or whatever when he was talking. So he was speaking back to him in his mind, trying to make contact with him. So once he did and he showed up, he had to explain why he was there and who he was. So when he's sitting at the dining room table, Anthony Hopkins, with his family, and in his mind, he said, "I'm at the front door. I'm waiting for you at the front door." He was like not knowing whether or not he should say anything or if he was just nuts, because he already felt like he'd had a heart attack or was having a heart attack in his office earlier that day. So when he told his maid or the servant lady, "Please check the front door," she said the doorbell didn't ring. So we kind of still didn't even know whether or not for sure someone was going to be there. And then when she took him into the library, you had no idea what he looked like because he still was speaking with Anthony Hopkins' voice because it was in his head. So you thought that it was in his head. So I just loved how they unfolded it for you to meet Joe Black in the first place, and he had to come up with a name to give him. And I just thought it was, I just loved it. I thought the way that they introduced him and the way he interacted when he picked up the utensils, just everything about him was like he just had no idea exactly what he was supposed to do or why their people used things like this and did things the way they did. Like when he was trying to do his tie, and just everything about it. He did a really good job at portraying somebody who was clueless about anything about being a man, just a person. At least that's how I felt from all that part of it. Just Joe Black's character.
I feel sorry for Brad Pitt's original character in this movie because he's just kind of going about his business, meets a pretty girl at a coffee shop. Then he plays bounce off bus Bob, but he doesn't get hit by a bus. He gets hit by a few cars in traffic, which is comedic. One of the most comedic deaths I've ever seen in a movie for a while. And I have to give props. This movie is not a strong showing by Martin Davies, I believe is his name, the director of this film. Not exactly one of his, Martin Brest, excuse me.
Yeah.
Not his strongest showing he's ever done. He's directed far better movies. This film has some interest between Hopkins, and you figure out how his daughters are staggered out. Okay, well, Claire's the younger one, and Allison's the older, blah, blah, blah. And, this movie just, I spent 3 hours of this watching this movie waiting for just something other than a Vulcan love story. And that's what I fucking feel like I watched. Like, here's Charlie X, and he's never had peanut butter before. Out of all the times that, we've had good food available to us, he gets the most bougie fucking peanut butter that is sold in mainstream stores. And, then he's never had sex as a human before. Oh.
But the thing with the peanut butter, I thought it was wonderful. Did you see the movie Overboard?
I love that movie.
Okay.
That's a fun movie.
The scene where you have Roddy McDowell in the kitchen with the other servants, right? And they're interacting and whatever. And she goes down there and she's interacting because she felt like she was on a level with them after she came out of her, unconsciousness and didn't know who she was, right? Mm-hmm. So she was more relaxed and she felt uncomfortable. She didn't know how she was supposed to act. So when you see him wander into the servants area and the servants are just relaxing, waiting to be called to go serve or do whatever the rich people in this ginormous mansion want, at the snap of their fingers, they're just being normal people, eating whatever, enjoying themselves, right? Okay. And they're making peanut butter sandwiches, okay, with this peanut butter. Yeah, maybe it's bougie because they're in a rich mansion. Okay, and they're getting to eat something they probably wouldn't be able to afford at their own home. So when Brad Pitt comes in there and he says, "Hi, it's nice to meet you," and he's very down to earth and nice to them because he doesn't know any different of how to talk to these people compared to them being rich, poor, white, black, man, woman. He didn't care. None of that meant anything to him. And that's one thing I liked about his character. So then when he says, I'm eating peanut butter, would you like some? And he gets a spoon and he hands it to him and he starts licking the spoon and stuff. He's intrigued because it tastes good. He likes it. He's never experienced what taste buds are for and things like that. I thought it was great. I thought it was very interesting. I thought it was a unique way of giving us an idea of what it would be like for somebody to never be a human and all of a sudden be in a human's body and get to taste what food tastes like, whether it's strawberries, peanut butter, steak. It didn't really matter, but the fact that they used peanut butter, I thought it fit right into the part about the servants being in the kitchen.
The first act of this movie is interesting. You have a genuine conversation between those two, Claire Forlani and Brad Pitt, at a coffee shop. Mm-hmm. You watch Brad Pitt bounce off a couple cars and dies. So
And
now
she doesn't see that. She doesn't know he died.
nobody sees that but the viewers. All of us in the theater, all of us on the internet, all of us on our phones.
Hmm.
We watch that. We see it. But now the movie kind of evolves a little bit, and then we see all the backroom dealings with William Parrish and his group of ne'er-do-wells and profiteers. And we meet up with Drew, some of the others, and it's not a horrible setup, but it's just drawn out. This movie could have had like two directions, and this is probably a complaint of mine. I can't wait till we review Lord of the Rings movies.
Hmm.
I can't wait for that.
Well, all movies can't be Lord of the Rings.
No, and I'm telling you why I'm saying I can't wait for it. Let me finish my
No, I
statement.
know.
I want a fucking 3 hour film I don't bitch about.
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
fucking like here's my problem with a 3 hour movie. Either fucking chop it and make it to where it doesn't have periods that I feel could have spent better on the shitter, or make it so rich it turns into a 10 episode fucking season of an internet show on Prime or net garbage or whatever you use, preferably not Netflix. And I've always been not Netflix since 2017 because they got heavily invested in by the U.S. government, Barack Obama. Fuck those people. So either draw it out, make it stock with really good characters, and make it fucking matter. Earn your fucking $90 million price tag, which this movie does not earn for me at all. This movie could have been a $30 million spent for a 2 night episodes or 2 night TV movie for NBC or CBS. They could have done a little better on some of the casting because Claire Forlani, as cute as she is, she's not a actress that I buy. She acts kind of like a doctor, but she's too much of a passive individual, too much of a wallflower for me to give a shit about. I would have rather had her older sister be the focus, and I'm not an Marsha Harden person. I don't think that she's a supreme actress. I think she's a better actress. I think she's a better individual as far as getting a script and developing a character in her head before she opens her mouth and gets on set. I think she's 10 times the actress that Claire Forlani is. Claire Forlani is good for pinups. She's good for modeling. Not good. I wasn't impressed by her in this movie. Okay. We meet some of the other individuals that are inside the boardroom. We get to meet up with Jake Weber, who plays Drew. Jake Weber was in the movie Dawn of the Dead, 2004, I
Yeah.
believe. And he played Michael in that. He plays a really good character in Dawn of the Dead. That's one of the few Zack Snyder films I'll recommend. But he plays Drew in Meet Joe Black, and you want to talk about a son of a bitch that you want to punch in the head. He fucking nails it.
Hmm.
You guys are getting a flip picture every 4 minutes. That's how fast this movie went. Okay, so we get to meet him, and he's kind of despicable. He gives his little girl a kiss on the cheek, and her dad's like, I really wish you would have passion in your life with your relationship. You need to be dancing like a dervish. And they have this nice little conversation that Anthony Hopkins sells so much better than Bruce, sitting at a miniature desk with miniatures that require skillful painting. And I'm not for that guy to skillfully paint. I slop. Anyway, so we find out the dad, he's okay with Drew being in the boardroom for now at least, but he's not okay with his daughter having a long-term relationship with him. This might cause problems in the future, but she's getting about everything she's going to get when she gets that peck on the cheek because Drew would rather talk to daddy about the money situation. Oh, what's her business doing? Da, 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 da. That's what Drew's focus is on. He's not interested in his wife, but as soon as he gets a chance, he's going to put babies in her, fucking distract her from having to do with anything he does. He's got no passion towards this lady. Dad sees right through him. Good job, Dad. Then we get to meet a little bit more of Allison, who is played by Marcia Gay Harden, and she plays a fantastic older daughter. And then you meet later on a little bit Jeffrey Tambor, who's Quince. I identify with this guy probably the hardest in the movie because he's the one that basically is responsible for one of the turncoat activities that happens, and he does a really good job of being that guy. And I felt sorry for him because he didn't want to be the one to collapse William Parrish's career. This is what the dude looks like now. I'm not saying I identify with fat bald dudes. He's not fat anymore. He's just acting. Okay, so we go back and Act 2 starts, and this is part of the movie where the slog starts, because we now start seeing all the things that Death has to do. Death has to do this, and Death has to do that. And go ahead, Janet, because if I talk about it, you're going to see why I rated it 40%.
Well, I didn't know what your rate was. You hadn't said it yet. But I don't want to interrupt because I already interrupted you earlier.
Sorry, I didn't mean to snap your head off.
No, that's all right. I just was letting you say what you need to say. But the thing is, I just didn't see the movie the same way as you. Same thing. I didn't think about Bad Girls. I like Bad Girls, and it just seems like you just don't like movies that I pick. But I didn't pick this movie. I didn't. I thought someone else picked it from the.
It might have been one of
I had never seen this movie, and I probably never would have watched it if we hadn't watched it. But I'm glad I did because I really thought it was good. I almost cried a few times. I got emotional because I love Anthony Hopkins. I just love Anthony Hopkins. I think he's a wonderful actor. He just has made so many good movies. And I thought he did a really good job in this movie at playing a father who knows he's about to die, and he's trying to make sure he makes the right choices before he leaves. And that's one of the things I wrote down. I said, just think about how would we live our life if we knew when we were going to die? And you said you think that most people wouldn't be good and they would just do whatever the fuck they wanted.
There'd be a lot of people that would develop habits like, I'm going to smoke, I'm going to do cocaine, I'm going to fucking hit meth. I think people would run their lives into the ground.
But see, that's not. I don't, because a person who's already has family, he already has a home, he already has all these things that he's done. Okay, then through his life, and let's say he works so much he doesn't get to see his daughter's first time that she makes it on the baseball team, or the first cheerleading job that she got, or her first dance, and he doesn't get to see her coming down the stairs in her first dress to go to her first prom, any of those things, okay? Or let's say his daughter's already married and he doesn't get to walk her down the aisle, or what I'm saying is he missed out on all these things, and now he finds out that in 2 weeks he's going to die or more, depending on how long death, because death made a deal with him that as long as I'm enjoying myself and learning and not bored, I'll stay, and which means he gets to stay alive. So basically he's just trying to do the things and to get things ready to the best of his ability, not realizing he's about to get screwed over for his business by the guy that he thinks is going to marry his daughter, okay, at this time. So he doesn't realize he's being basically stabbed in the back. But the thing is that I liked the way that they portrayed it because it gave the father a new look at his family. He's frustrated because he doesn't want to die. Okay, he doesn't want to die. He wants to live. He wants to live every minute that he can possibly live. He's about to turn 65, which really isn't that old. But in the movie, they make it seem like he's decrepit, I guess, or whatever. I don't know. That to me didn't make any much sense. But
there's a lot of this movie right there doesn't make a lot of sense.
Well, that's the one thing that I didn't. There was a few things. I didn't say it was a 10. I didn't think this is a perfect movie. There's a lot of things I found that were wrong, but I didn't think it was a 40 for sure. I thought the acting was good. The overall story was really good. The conception of it, of having somebody get into the body of someone who just died and step in their body so he can find out what it's like to find out what love is, because he keeps hearing about it and seeing all these people talking about it, and he's intrigued. So he decides to take his chance to find out. He doesn't even know that he's going to meet this girl. He doesn't even know who she is when she walks in the dining room and she goes, what are you doing here? Because she'd already had a conversation with him. He has no idea about it. So all that was just like icing on the cake to teach him a little bit more about what it's like to be a human being. Even though he's still, you got to remember, he's soulless. He doesn't have a soul. He doesn't have the same choice that we have at the end of his life, or whenever his time is up. He's just a servant. That's all he is. He was made to do a job, and that's just like all archangels and other entities that God created in that realm. That's what he is. And anyone who watches this movie understands who the Grim Reaper is. Period. Okay, even though you don't see him dressed as a Grim Reaper, from the moment you see him as a young man in a suit walking down the road before he gets hit by two vehicles and dies, and he steps into it. So you don't know what he looks like. You assume he should look all hideous and be skulls and bones or whatever, and that's how he should treat people. Well, I like this point of view through this director or the writer of this script to give him a personal touch of what it's like to step into a human skin. Now he has feelings. Now he can cry. Now he has to eat. Now he has to sleep. All the things that he never expected because he's never dealt with it. All he'd go do is walk up and say, "You're it," and he'd just take their life. That's all he did. He never stayed to see the heartache and the torture that some families would have to go through and lose everything because the one breadwinner is gone. So now he's in a place where he can lose. He can lose out. He can miss. He didn't want to leave at the end. He wanted to stay because he was in love and he wanted to have this feeling. He didn't want to give it up. And he even sheds a tear when he wipes it off his face and he looks at it because he doesn't realize that what comes along with being human. And I loved it. I thought Brad Pitt did an excellent job at being awkward and not understanding of how he's supposed to react. And when people would look at him and go, "What the fuck?" basically, because of what he would say. He said things that were just totally out of left field that because he didn't understand that what he's saying is very not what doesn't fit in the situation. But she's in a point of her life where she's been in a relationship with this guy. He's a stuffed shirt. He's obnoxious. He's a narcissist. And just like she said, she sees him and she's excited. She lights up and he comes up and he kisses her on the cheek and then he kind of pushes her out of the way because she's just available and he assumes that she's his. He takes her for granted. That's why she just kind of like doesn't know what she's supposed to do. She wants to please her dad. She wants to do a good job and help people at her job because she's a doctor and help them not be hurting. But she also wants love. She wants to be romanced, but she doesn't want to do it and make her father see her as doing the wrong thing. So like, I don't know. I just loved the way that the director put the story together and had each of the characters their peaks as it went through, depending on what they were supposed to do. But the very ending is what I had the hardest time was that, because you see the father's relationship with his two daughters blossom even more because he realizes how lucky he was, how blessed he was. He had a wonderful wife that adored him. He loved her. He was madly in love with his wife. He had two beautiful daughters that he didn't get to spend the time with that he wished he had when they were younger and build a closer relationship because he was building his huge, immense wealth. And he had a private plane. He had a huge, ginormous house. It was a giant mansion, 20 servants. It was a wealth that most people would not. It's like Elon. Okay. This is how Elon Musk lives. Okay. That's all I could keep thinking is that, wow, how weird is that? I don't know if I'd want to live that way. I don't think I could after living the life that I've lived and having to cook for myself and clean up and do all the things myself. I don't know. I would feel, I don't know. I just think I would not like it. I'd be the one hanging out in the kitchen with the servants because they would probably be more fun than a bunch of stuck up people. I don't think I could live that way. But I thought Brad Pitt did a really good job at portraying somebody in a brand new body.
Yep, did a good job.
Oh, even though it wasn't him. But the thing is, she didn't see him die. So when she sees him, she comes home from work and she goes in and she's to see her dad and have dinner because he told him that he wanted him to come over, him, both his daughters, to have dinner with him. It was just interesting when she walks in and he goes, "What are you doing here?" Because she had just met him in a coffee shop that morning. So
Yep.
I just thought that was really great. And then he looked at her like he didn't understand how she knew him, and nobody did. Everyone was like, "What do you mean you met him before?" Because here is this guy, elusive guy that some of them think is taking over their dad or the boss of their company. He's like some kind of secret agent, or he's blackmailing them. There's all these innuendos flying around from the employees because they don't have a clue. But the two daughters are like, okay, and then the son-in-law is like, no big deal. He doesn't care. He lets him be who he is. And he says he's had advisors before, even though this guy looks like he's, maybe 22 years old. He's very, very young looking, but it didn't matter. But I just thought it was interesting because the rest of them didn't know the pact that they made, that as long as he didn't tell anyone who he really was, that he gets to keep living. So he was using his time as wisely as he could to get things set in motion. And that's why when he goes to the board meeting with him, and that one guy that might be a son-in-law one day tries to push him into making this merger, he's like, no, I don't trust the guy. I've never trusted him. And I'm just going to say, no, I don't want him to do it. I don't want to do this deal. So the other guy assumes that the Brad Pitt's character is somehow pushing him away from it because he's already ready to sell off the company and get the money and whatever else, tear it up because and then he gets the daughter and all the money. See, that type of attitude. So it really pisses him off when he realizes that the daughter probably isn't going to marry him, and that part of this thing is out of the thing. So that means maybe he might lose the company and the money if he doesn't take action. So it forces him to make a deal and kick him off the board so that he can take over because he wants that money.
I'm trying to figure out how exactly they spent $90 million on this film.
Well, for one, you got 3 Academy Award winners in it.
You got Brad Pitt,
Sir Anthony Hopkins, and the other woman, the other oldest daughter. All of them had won Academy Awards.
Okay, so that explains it. I didn't realize she was an Academy Award winner.
Yeah, all 3 of them.
She's really the reason why I kept watching. Claire Filani's little character, I couldn't give a shit about her. There is one bit character in this movie, the Creole lady played by Lois Kelly Miller, and she was considered a national treasure in Jamaica. And she filmed this movie back when she was in her 70s. She just died in 2020 at the age of 102 years old. That fucking rocks. That lady did a bang-up job on her orbits around the sun. I'll give her credit for that. This is based on a much better story called Death Takes a Holiday.
Well, show the picture of her.
What?
Did you find her picture to show?
The
actress?
Yeah.
But the thing is that was another thing that I thought was awesome. That showed you that when he was confronted at the hospital with the woman that came in with her daughter in the wheelchair, and she was, getting really sick. We don't know why she was dying, but we knew she was going to die because she instantly saw him and knew he was death. He was coming for her because she was near death. So she realized it. See, she was close to death compared to the father.
Here she is.
Yeah,
Okay,
there you go. Well,
so
this actress was recognized him as Death and was wondering, asked him if he's coming for her, he's there for her, and she says no. But when he speaks to her, he's speaking to her with the same accent and everything, and as fluent as she is. Because you got to remember, Death travels all over the world, so he can speak all the languages
I
that are out
this is a problem that I have with this character.
there.
Like Brad Pitt is intentionally trying to play dumb with Death, and or Death is playing intentionally stupid, like he's Charlie X. I've never been off planet before. The Thracians had me listen to the ship's computer, but I've never had socialization before. Blah blah blah. Motherfucker, you've been around for thousands upon thousands of years. You've been around longer than civilizations. You've got songs and plays in your head that have fallen to the sands of time. You could show us any of your fucking infinite fucking knowledge, but instead you choose to go the fucking naive route. This is the problem I have with the script. You fucking enjoy peanut butter for the first time, which I call bullshit on. Peanut butter's delicious. Anybody should have it, even Death when he's like 3. This
He doesn't have to eat. He's a
this
god.
this is such a shit script. I have a problem with because he's changing his personality for every individual he talks to, and I don't
See
really
that at
like
all.
that. I would prefer the character of Death be more consistent. Even in the Discworld novels, we get a fucking consistent Death. This iteration of Death absolutely disgusted me with the way he acted. Oh, I've never had sex before. You're gonna take this little fucking B cupper out of fucking 1998. You're not gonna go back to the 1950s with Mae West or Marilyn Monroe. You're not gonna go back to the 1920s with a number of hotties that were involved with more physical labor back then, which made much nicer looking women, I might add. Women, by the way, you want to have a good figure. Don't go to the gym. Just go get a job. Go push pallets for a living. Go be involved with a landscaping company. Go develop a body that your boyfriend and husband can't wait to put babies in. And then there's people like, oh, there's not everybody that likes that.
That's
Well,
not true, Bruce. I told you, I've had people tell me, leave a post under my thing saying that, you're pretty or whatever, but I prefer plums over coconuts, stuff like that. So
you
all men don't want a woman
there's always
that's
the
built
gay
like Mae West.
representation.
Some men like slim women. That's just the way it is. Look at what's her name, that singer. What's her name that's dating that football guy?
Swift.
Yeah, Taylor Swift. Look at her. She's a stick. She looks like a tomboy, a young teenage boy. But look at, she's got millions of people that drool all over her. Okay, so
I
not
don't understand it.
everyone
I
wants a
don't
woman that
fucking
looks like
understand it.
Malcolm X.
I think the people that drool over Taylor Swift are the same fuckers that drool over
I
fucking
think Brad
Jonathan
Pitt's cute,
Ramsey.
but he's not my type. I would much rather have a taller guy with a darker hair. I don't really go for blonde men. I mean, I never have. I think they're okay looking, and I'm not into people that are built like Arnold
All
Schwarzenegger
right,
either.
masculine men,
So,
like a woman with
just
woman with
saying,
woman.
everybody has their
But
own,
those of you that are like, I'm into plums,
you know,
not fucking
whatever.
coconuts, we get it. You're gay. We get it. We don't give a shit. Like ever since the death of Charlie Kirk, my my fuck you kick. I'm sorry. You don't agree with me. That's great.
No, that's
No,
fine. I'm just
but I
saying
just
everybody has a right to like, somebody because they got a big ass or long legs or
I
giant
didn't say
booter
it was a big ass.
or
Otherwise, you'd have
long blonde hair.
you'd be
I
chasing.
mean, I know I used to bring guys home all the time, and I have 2 blonde sisters, and then they wouldn't want to talk to me anymore because they had a good looking hourglass frame and I was tall and skinny, and they weren't interested, and I was brunette. So there you go. So I'm just saying, if a guy wants a blonde that goes whatever, that's what he gets. That's what he wants, or he wants a girl that knows how to take care of herself and fish and do stuff. All men are different.
They
What's
are
the wrong with
correct.
men?
But 90% of men would rather have a woman who's decidedly woman and not go for something like John Benet Ramsey or Taylor Swift. And I'll fucking die on that hill. I don't give a fuck about other people's opinions. I never will.
Everyone or 90% want women like that. I'm saying there's the people that like that are going to buy a ticket to go see it because that's what they're into. Look how many people went to see Captain Marvel. I didn't buy a ticket. I never saw it. I haven't even seen it on DVD.
Okay, hold on, psyop. Hold on. They smushed that movie between Endgame and Infinity War. Of course, it's going to be $1 billion seller. But if you take that movie on its own fucking credit, own script, and its own capacity to bring in people because of who stars in it,
yeah,
the movie would have earned less than Thor 2.
Yeah.
That's the only way you can sell fucking Captain Marvel, by smashing it between the fucking penultimate movie and the final movie in the actual Avengers series.
Yeah.
There's no other way that you could sell Captain Marvel. This movie here wasted $90 fucking million. Yes, Anthony Hopkins had to get paid. Marcia Gay Harden had to get paid. Brad Pitt had to get paid. Okay, fine, I get it. Now we have the set. We have that wonderful fucking mansion with the beautiful bridge in the backyard. We have the pyrotechnics. The pyrotechnics, which is like $100,000 at the very end, which is the Akon's video, I Just Had Sex, has a better pyrotechnics display than this movie did. And the problem that I have, that you have, like, we agree, this is bullshit. What happens at the end, spoiler fucking alert, Brad Pitt and fucking Anthony Hopkins talking about how the end is coming. And they walk side by side over the bridge at the very end. Now the movie goes from being a potential, hey, this is kind of enjoyable, to, God damn it, it's a fairy tale. Because instead of Anthony Hopkins having an on-screen death, my heart died. Because he should have died from a heart attack. That's what we saw the first fucking act of the movie. He's talking to death in his head. Death is saying, hey, you're...
Because he was probably going to die at that moment. I think that's when he was going to die, and death hurt him. And then after that, he was brought to him, and then he started talking to him in his mind.
Correct.
See, and that's why, because he stopped him from dying because he thought, this is intriguing. This person is interesting.
This movie has the worst resolution I've ever seen.
Yeah, I hated the ending. It was terrible.
The fucking resolution of this movie is terrible because Anthony Hopkins walks over the bridge, and Joe Black walks with him. Mm-hmm. And then whenever Allison, little Trelawney, she's going after her daddy. Oh God, what's going on? Why is he walking over the bridge? What's going on? And then here comes Brad Pitt's character, but it doesn't really look like Brad Pitt as Joe Black. It looks more like Brad Pitt at the start of the film, because he's got that even more innocent look to his face, which Brad Pitt's like 30, 35 years old in this movie. In when he filmed it, not as a character, but in reality, he's like 30 or 35.
He doesn't look it.
He's not a young man. He's just got a baby face. He does really good with the baby face role for about another 5 years. He was supposed to be our Captain America. Now, the thing is that he comes over the hill, and Claire Forlani runs into his arms, and they kiss. And as they walk back towards the house, fireworks are going off. And where's Anthony Hopkins? Where's fucking Will Parrish? Will Parrish is dead. Will perished. He perished. That's what he did. Did he get kidnapped by aliens? No, he's supposedly gone. And so Claire Forlani's got Brad Pitt, and she looks in his eyes. She kisses him a couple times. She's like, let's go fuck by the fireplace. Not like my dad's coming home ever again. This is the worst fucking movie. This is garbage. And it went from a interesting film about good characters with some characters that are not well acted to a good backroom boardroom drama. The boardroom scenes are worthwhile. They are. The scenes with the boardroom politics, absolutely worth watching. I actually enjoyed that much more than any part of the movie. Aside from that, this movie's shit. And it's got good characters in it. But there's such long, drawn-out portions where there's nothing going on that furthers the story in an interesting fashion. Yes, Stephen King is an accomplished writer. There are 2/3 of Stephen King's pages in all of his novels that you can rip out and roll pot in, smoke it, and get more out of than the fucking typed shit that's on the paper. This movie feels like it was written by Stephen King. It's bloated. It's got good characters. It's miserably paced. I don't know what the fuck I was watching. I wanted to fall asleep. I wanted to take a shit. Neither happened.
It sounds like you watched a totally different movie than me, except for the ending.
I like part of the film. There are parts of it that I can watch. It's just like whenever I watch Maximum Overdrive, anytime the little fucking APC with or the little Jeep with the 50 cal on it is on screen, I watch it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't watch anything else. I've seen it too many times, and yeah, you like ACDC, that's great. But this is not a movie that I can recommend. Is it a good movie? You should study it. If you are interested in film, study this film because it has some lessons for you. If you like Anthony Hopkins, watch it.
Yeah,
I
he does an
can't,
excellent job in
I
this.
can't recommend a whole lot else because as much as I really enjoy Jeffrey Tambor playing Quince, his guy on the board, the guy that felt guilt for fucking selling him out up the river to Drew, I'm not big on much else in this film. And that's why I say I'm giving it a 40%. I'll never watch it again.
Well, I
It's
might watch it
interesting.
again with someone else, but my score isn't going to be that low, and mine's basically lower due to the ending because when you watch a movie and it builds and builds and builds, you learn more and more about the characters as they evolve and their arc starts to go up and around each other and things like that. You expect something, it's supposed to reach a climax. Basically, you're supposed to be happy with the ending, whether the person dies or whether the person lives or they're a hero or whatever it is. You're supposed to get answers at the end. And what's funny is you're left not realizing or even knowing for sure whether the daughter even realizes what's going on, because apparently she acts like she understands that he has a split personality or something, because he's not the same person that she had sex with the day before. You see what I mean? And she knows that because of the way they look and the way she speaks to him. Yet she knows her father went over the bridge, but he comes back by himself and her father didn't come back. So where is he? She doesn't act like she cares where he's at. She's not interested in running over there. That's the first thing I would have done. See? So I don't understand that. But the thing is, this movie is like an interracial relationship between love and death, basically. It's unusual, but it's the fact that he becomes obsessed with the feelings he has with a human body. Like when he kisses her, he becomes aroused. It's like, oh, I got feelings I never thought I'd ever feel. Even though, yeah, he's seen gruesomeness, people get their heads chopped off, people getting squashed, people getting boiled in lava, drowning, bloated bodies, all the different nasty shit that death has seen for millennia, right? But he's never had the feeling of loss. He's never had the feeling of love or um, of interest. He never gave a shit because they were just measly people. They're like little fleas. Beep, beep, beep. He doesn't give a shit. He's a god. It's just like if you ever watch that TV series with the guy that puts you to sleep so you can dream. And then you had other characters, and I can't remember the name of it, but it was really good. I only got to watch the first season. I would love to watch the rest of it, but it was a really good series, and it had all the different entities that run the world, basically humanity. But that's what this was. This whole thing was, he was intrigued by the strong feelings of love that this man had when he had his heart attack and he wasn't ready to die yet. Okay, and he was only 64 years old at this time when he had his first heart attack, and death stops it because all of a sudden the pain goes away and he hears the voice in his head. So he was interested in him and his feelings and how strong this man's feelings were for love of his wife and his two daughters. So he's intrigued, but as soon as he enters his life and he makes a deal with him that I'll keep you alive as long as I'm not bored or ready to move on, whatever. So he says, okay.
What fucking movie he was watching?
Then
Damn.
here comes the daughter. She walks in and he doesn't even know that he had already met her. his form, his body has met this woman before, but he doesn't have memory of it because he wasn't in the body yet. So I just loved it. I thought the way that it unfolded was good. I thought the chemistry between the main characters was really good. The husband and wife, just like I said, of the older daughter, and the board, just like you said, the board of directors that's all sitting around, the way that a few of them were for him and some weren't. Some were with the other guy to get it and sell it to this other person and make lots of money. So you had all the greedy people, but you had the backstabbers and the sneaks in the background waiting to get their big piece of the pie, like what you see right now. It's going on with our government and stuff. So you got losers, but you also have good people, and they're trying to fight and do the right thing. Just like I said, that if I knew a couple days, if I had a week or two that I was going to live a month longer, and I knew I was going to die on this day, I would be doing everything I could to leave everything I needed intact so that my daughter would have a house or my daughter would have a car and it would be paid for, things like that. I'd be thinking of my family because I love them. I've just spent my whole life, 64 years, like he was about to know, he's about to, on his 64th birthday, 5th birthday, he was going to die after the party. He knew that. So he was trying to fix the mistakes that he had made in the last few months, and fix all that because he loved his family. That's why death was so intrigued with him, because he had such a strong love for his daughters and his dead wife. When he asked her, that really hurt me too. I was really into it when he was talking to Death and he said, how is my wife? When he asked him that, he just ignored him. It's because he, at that time,
whoa, she's doing fine on the pasture. You want to join her now? I can get you there.
No, he didn't want to join. He didn't want him to go. He was on his vacation.
No, the thing is that you don't ask a question to Death like,
why not? He's a human being and he loved his wife. See, that's what the whole core of this movie was about.
The thing is, he would ask questions like that. His wife's no longer here. His wife might be alive in his head and in his heart. He probably retrobates all the time to her. But I'm willing to bet that I wouldn't ask Death, especially if you look like Brad Pitt, wanting to spoon my daughter. Like, by the way,
he didn't know that at that time that was going to happen. He just thought it was intriguing. That's all. He wasn't. He didn't have feelings for her yet at that time.
Death isn't going to give you a fucking prayer of an afterlife in his discussion. Death's job is get you to the river Styx, and off you go. From that point, it's up to you and your beliefs to figure out what direction you're pointed. You're going to lay in the ground peacefully.
Remember at the very end what Brad Pitt said to him? He said, should I be afraid? Because when he was about to walk over the bridge, and he said, not someone like you. What do you think that meant?
What do I think that meant? I think that his afterlife was going to be a little different than the life he led on Earth. That's what I think.
Okay, what I got from it, when he looked at him and he said, should I be afraid? Because he didn't know. Everyone's fearful of death. We don't know if it's going to hurt. We don't know what's going to happen to us because we don't know what comes after, right? We hope and we pray. Some people have faith in different religions and they feel that they know where they're going to go. I do. I feel like I know what's going to happen to me, but that doesn't mean I know. I mean, I can't prove it. I can't prove what's going to happen to me. But what I felt when Brad Pitt said, not someone like you, he meant you were a good husband and a good father and you lived a good life and you weren't a backstabbing fucking asshole like the other guy that tried to rip off the country or company.
Correct.
Okay. So he would fear, like what was it? I'm trying to remember. It was some TV show I watched and you saw these black spirity, scary, creepy things. Oh, it was Constantine that came up out of the ground and grabbed people. Okay, to put them down. Well, that's what I don't want. I don't want to go there. I don't want to go to hell. Okay, and I loved the fact that he said that to him. Someone like him is going to have a good, happy ending.
Here's the thing. We're all sold our various religion or whatever we've got going on in our world. Your parents and your culture that you live in are pretty much trying to tell you the whole time.
Yeah, the Muslims are going to get rid of
this is what's going to happen to you when you die. The thing is that the speculation, as much as I would like to believe in heaven, as much as I would like to believe in pearly gates, until I get there, can't tell you for certain what the fuck it is.
No.
This movie I didn't like the way that death was portrayed at all. I didn't like the script for it. There's parts of it that I thought was garbage. The ending was shit. There's a reason why this movie earns a solid 40%. This movie is a fairy tale. Is it a good fairy tale? No. But does it have good characters? Yes. What should it be done to fix it? Well, either we let somebody go in there that knows how to edit and turn it into an actual movie, or we have somebody from fucking Paramount go in, turn it into a 10-episode series, and make it to where it's actually enjoyable. Because now you can stuff it with fun characters, have little side quests, little events and stuff, and that would be fun. Because there's plenty of fun to be had with this universe. It's just the fact it doesn't know what the fuck it's going to do. And they didn't even know what the fuck they were going to do when this movie got out of the theaters, because somebody, Alan Smithy, came along and made a 2-hour edit to where you can watch it on a flight or on syndication and have most of the boardroom stuff taken out, which I feel is the strongest part of the movie. This movie is lost, and I have a problem with this film in a lot of ways because Martin Brest, he was a good director at one point. I don't know what happened to him. Who's Martin Brest, Bruce? Well, maybe you've heard of him because there was a little movie in 1984 called Beverly Hills Cop. And that was his basically step onto the major screen because up to that point he directed some stuff for SNL. He had done some shorts. He had done other things, but his big thing was going into Beverly Hills Cop. Then in 88, he directed a great movie called Midnight Run. And then in 1992, he made people like Janet very happy by bringing a movie called Scent of the Woman to the theaters, and even guys like me like it.
I've never seen that.
Oh. Okay. Then something happens. In 6 years, we go from Scent of a Woman to Meet Joe Black. And while the overall approval of this movie is a 7.2 on IMDb, the actual rate of this film, this is like a 43 Metascore. And a lot of that.
Like who? Are you getting it off Rotten Tomatoes?
Not
the audience score on Rotten Tomatoes was way higher than it was by the.
Hold on, let me share this with
people,
you, Janet.
That do all the professionals always rate it way lower.
Okay, Chicago Sun-Times has the highest score, and that's from Roger Ebert.
Mm-hmm.
His right there, right fucking there. Okay, Roger Ebert has the best fucking critic score, 75.
Yeah, but what is that? That's not Rotten Tomatoes.
Chicago Sun-Times.
Yeah.
Entertainment Weekly 67, Austin Chronicle, and I usually don't even go to Rotten Tomatoes because they've had their books cooked before. So is Fandango. I'm not into it.
But it's not the thing is that I like about Rotten Tomatoes is it has an audience score.
Mm-hmm.
And
so
that's where I usually go.
So it exists. Hold on. Right fucking here, you have out of the 200,091 ratings, 7.2.
Yeah, it's still not 4, like you said.
I think it's a 4, honestly, and I'm not apologetic about it. There's other people out there.
But what I'm saying is,
D.A. Jean is a good movie, and I give that a 25.
A 7.5 stars out of 10. And most of that is down because of the ending. I thought was ridiculous. I thought it was a horrible ending for all the buildup and all the work that you went through to show that the bond between the daughters and the dad got stronger before he died. And then she just turns around and walks off knowing he walked over the bridge and didn't come back. It just, to me, that's oblivious. It's just so stupid. It took away all those points because of that was just one of the worst endings I've ever seen. I think this ending was even more depressing than Powder, honestly, to me.
Powder and G.I. Jane still rate worse for me than this movie.
Well, not to me. Overall,
I would say the Bad Girls eclipses it with a 42.
Yeah, the ending of this was. This movie wasn't as bad as that other movie with the what's his face or whatever, which I didn't even see but 15 minutes of. But it was the worst movie of all time. But this,
You obviously don't have you don't like Nicolas Cage. That's
no,
all.
I love him. I love Ghost Rider. That's my favorite movie by him.
Wait, we got The Rock. We have Face Off.
No, I like Face Off. It was good, but I don't really like the other person that was in Face Off, so that brought it down a couple notches.
There's three
Sorry, I
movies
don't.
in
I don't
'97, the holy trilogy of action films, and you like.
hey, I got lots of Ghost Rider comic books. That's why I like Ghost Rider.
I wanted to like Ghost Rider.
Well, I did. I did like it. I liked how they transitioned from the old Ghost Rider to the new one. That was great.
It's easy to skew the numbers, Janet. That's the thing. I think a 40 is absolutely best.
Well, that's good. I'm glad that you
this
gave it a 40. If that's what you feel, then you should. I'm not
I
trying
can't
to
recommend this movie to my mom. I can't tell my dad, hey, watch this. It'll make your dick stand on end. I can't. There's not a single fucking part of this movie that I thought. There's a part in the first to second act where I thought it turned into ASMR, but it was poorly
That's what I'm
done.
saying. I thought you were sleeping through half the movie, so I
I
knew
wanted
you
to.
didn't like it.
I didn't. I couldn't take a shit either. I wanted. I desired. Next week we are actually watching a movie that I'm pretty certain we're going to love. It's John Landis's American Werewolf in London. Pretty certain I'm going to have people in the comments
Now,
that
that's a
are.
movie that I asked you to put on the list.
I would have put it on there anyway.
Yeah, I know, but that's one of the movies that I asked you to put
It's
on.
a Rick Baker film.
Yeah, it's excellent.
The thing is that we're going to have people in the comments, so brace yourself now. They're going to be upset that John Landis got 3 people killed during a Twilight Zone movie. He doesn't have a good, healthy relationship with Steven Spielberg anymore. No surprise. There's problems that happen everywhere. I'm gonna fucking just like torpedo that shit right now, and I'll do it again at the start.
The only horror movie that won an Academy Award for Best Special Effects.
You can hate on John Landis all you want. There was more than John Landis on the set the night that Vic Morrow died with those 2 young Vietnamese girls. Okay? And I know this isn't anybody that's currently in the chat right now because I'd be seeing the chat. Fuck John Landis, he sucks. Fuck John Landis, he got people killed. Listen, I've worked in environments, and maybe you have too, where there's somebody that is there, and we all have to abide by this. If you see something wrong, say something. We'll stop everything going on. We'll fix it. And if we can get the work done safely, we'll do it. There's not a single fucking person that has a job today with all the fucking intrusions of insurance and safety and human resources. You wearing a hard hat when you go out and grabbing the mail, and a fucking yellow vest if you have to walk around the fucking parking lot. There's not a single fucking way that you, as an employee or as an individual, has to abide by all the garbage that OSHA puts out that nowadays wouldn't have that happen. Now, I also understand that our safety rules and our insurance is built upon the blood of mistakes before. But I'm a little upset that nobody saw a fucking problem and tried to stop the situation. I wasn't there that night, and neither were you. I want to watch the Twilight Zone movie at some point. I want to see it. I want to be able to give it an honest review because there's more than just John Landis behind the camera in that film. But I'm not saying he's not at fault. I'm saying everybody there was at fault. Every fucking person, even Vic. Not a single person stood up and was like, this just doesn't feel right. Wind, helicopter blades, not feeling it. Nobody? Are you fucking serious? Janet, get in here.
I'm here.
Okay. So
I just saw the ring of death there for a second, and I was like, "Oh well."
I saw you freeze. But I'm just a little miffed about how people deride John Landis because of that thing. There was more than Landis on set. It was more than Landis with his camera and those actors in the helicopter. Everybody that was there was responsible for it. Nobody. Nobody fucking wanted to own up to it. They all pointed to Landis. He's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
And then fucking you have Grease going on the wheels, and Landis isn't the problem, but yet he's never going to have another job in Hollywood. And I think he was even on Red Letter Media a few years back. I'll have to watch that. Anyway, my name's Bruce, and I paint poorly, but I wanted to let you guys know that's what we're watching next week. Rick Baker's special effects of American Werewolf in London. If you want to watch it with us, contact our pretty lady here in chat, Janet.
Yeah.
What final thoughts do you have about this movie?
Well, honestly, I really, really enjoyed this movie. I give it a 7.5 out of 10. I thought it was the acting was phenomenal, considering except I didn't really like the one character like you didn't the younger daughter, the one that ends up betting the Grim Reaper basically, but everyone else was phenomenal. And Anthony Hopkins, I absolutely adore. So I would watch it just because it's an Anthony Hopkins movie. But that's me. But I like the point of view that this story is telling us, to put the Grim Reaper in a position of being confronted with feelings about what it's like to fall in love and the loss of a loved one, because at the very end he has to decide, does he want to keep her for himself and be selfish narcissistic pig that he death is, or does he want to let her live her life as a human, that she was the gift that she was given by God basically. So that's how I looked at it, because you got to remember, every person that watches anything, reads a novel or anything, it's your interpretation of what the story is by what you take from it, right? And that's what I took from it. I thought it was wonderful, but I absolutely hated the ending. I don't understand what the director was thinking to end it that way. I mean, he builds up the characters to rebuild the relationship of the daughters with their father, and then he has a daughter that realizes the guy that comes back over the bridge isn't the same guy that went over the bridge with her dad, but yet she doesn't run across the bridge to see her dad, even though she knows he's supposedly dead. Who doesn't want to be with their dead loved one? I mean, to me, it just didn't make any sense. It just threw the whole story out the window. That the love there was no love. There was nothing. I don't know. I just hated the ending. I thought it was one of the worst endings I've ever seen for a movie that worked so hard to build the relationships for the ending, because he's about to die, and he sacrificed everything for his daughters at the end, for the company and everything, so that they would have money and not lose out, and try to teach them about love and to find someone and fall in love, and they just leave him in the woods. I just hated it. I thought it was horrible, the very ending. But the movie I thought was good up to then.
I
Turn off before they get across the bridge. Just turn off the movie. That's what I said.
It reminds me of Phoebe there. Make sure you turn off Old Yeller before the bullets, before they see the bullet. You see
That's the only advice I can give you for that part of it.
2:30 next week. Looks like we're going to 3 o'clock Central Standard Time. We should be here. Just keep it looking. Look on your YouTube, and Rumble is where I prefer to stream at. We're doing a YouTube stream now. The majority of people I see in comments are from YouTube. Yes, Rumble is not quite as stable. YouTube used to be the same way, and still has hiccups, still has problems. But I would much rather stream on Rumble because their TOS is good. Looking for a good alternative for Discord because their TOS is shit, not like communists. So I'm looking at MeWe. It is a funny sounding name, but it might be a place for me to port my community to for Gilded Discord. And I think it might actually be a solution for you guys too, because it's peer to peer. There's no centralization on it. So if you're interested in something like that, take a look at it. If you want to watch the movie with us next week, contact Janet. You're probably already here because
on X or on my Discord.
Yeah. You've been getting some traction with your streams here, or with your spaces lately. I noticed.
Hmm.
So it makes me a little happy that you're doing that. Uh,
I enjoy it. I enjoy doing it. Fun.
we are having the holiday season come upon us, so if you guys are going to be busy during the holiday season, I wholly endorse you seeing your family and friends and spending quality time with them.
Hmm.
I do want you guys to do that. Not that I don't feel that if you were told tomorrow, hey, by Friday you're dead, figure it out. I don't feel like everybody would probably run to addiction and be like, I've never done cocaine before. I don't think that happened. But I think there would be a group of people out there, a group of doomers that would be like, you know what? I want pain relief. And I think they would go to those things that would provide them a relief. And I know that's not, maybe not the wholesomest of messages, but I can see that happening with a segment of the population. I want you guys to be as wholesome and as healthy as you can, to
Well,
help
guess
you help
what?
your families.
I can't take ibuprofen. So the last couple of weeks, when my knee would hurt after working out or my shoulder, guess what I had to take?
Tylenol.
Tylenol. So I don't
I
have
mean,
anything else.
because you just got done birthing your 12th child and he's sucking on your breast milk. Yeah, he's going to be completely autistic, and you're like,
Yeah.
what, as old as
Well,
me?
I don't have to worry about
You
that.
don't
But what I'm
worry about
saying is,
that. I don't think this is a
I
worry.
don't. I don't take a lot of that stuff
And
anyway.
you're
So
not a heavy
as
drinker,
of today, I
so
just don't have anything else that I can take.
you're not a super heavy drinker, so I don't see this being a
No, I
real
don't.
negative for you.
I hardly drink.
Um, guys, have yourself a good week. Try to stay away from the news because the news is just there to advertise bad commercials and products.
The Smith-Mundt Act. Don't watch
Yeah,
the news. That's what I tell people.
Janet, go ahead and let us out for the day.
Well, I just want to say thank you to everyone who hung out in X, and lots of good comments. I'm sorry if a lot of you didn't like the movie. Uh, it was different because I had never seen it before. It was a totally different point of view uh, for the Grim Reaper, actually getting to step into a human suit for a short amount of time and find out what it was like to actually be a human being, which I just thought it was really good. And I thought they did a great job at everything up until the ending of the movie for me. For romance, I teared up. I just love Anthony Hopkins. I just think he's a great actor, and I liked a lot of the characters. I thought they were well done. And hopefully, if you do like Anthony Hopkins, I think you'd enjoy this. Just make sure you turn it off when he walks over the bridge.
Yeah.
So you don't see the very, very ending because it really is bad. It's just a bad ending. It just doesn't make any sense at all. But besides that, it's a good movie for me. It's my opinion.
Thank you so much.